beer, and this is a really good one. Brewdog Punk IPA and Recovery. Not so good, even after a small few beers. So I had 5 of these the other night, alright? Not exactly a sesh head, and I had 5.4%, so what's that, 3 points? 5 of them. Went to bed, great night's sleep, 7.5 hours sleep, felt great, woke up. Wow, look at that, magic. Now let's check the stats on one of these fancy watches. Click, click, click. As you'll see up here, I actually had a very poor sleep. One side sleep, as you can see, the arrow is way up. On the other side, my heart rate, my breathing rate skyrocketed all throughout the night. So my heart rate was elevated, which means I wasn't in a rested state, and my breathing rate was at least 2 or 3 per minute increase. So bottom line is I wasn't recovering. Although asleep, I was not recovering. If I go on the other side, I wasn't getting a deep sleep. My REM sleep was something like 5% or 10%. And that's only after 5 beers. Right? So why am I telling you that? Not to make you give up beer, because I'm not, but just to be sensible about it around training. So if, for example, the next day after you've had 4 or 5 beers, and yes, only that small amount, you do need to watch the intensity level of your training session, because you are not fully recovered. Despite what you might think, despite how much of a hero you think you are not fully recovered. So if you have a heavy lifting session the next day, whether you're going for a big deadlift session, a big squat session, or you're on the field doing a high intensity sprint session, okay, you need to be honest with yourself and say, well, I had a couple of beers the night before, I ain't going to do that today, because I might get injured. The chances of me getting injured have just skyrocketed, okay? But it doesn't mean you have to do nothing, right? You can just vary your session. So instead of doing a really heavy lifting session, why not go for up the reps and do more of a kind of a hypertrophy session, where you're not putting your body under that intense pressure. Instead of a speed session, okay, where you're going to really have the body up at a high intensity, why not do a lighter jog or a lighter cardio session, and then that night have no beer, get a good night's sleep, and then you can just flip things around and do your more intense session when you don't have any beers the night before. Alright, so yes to your beer, but also yes to being clever about your training around your beer.